These 30 lucky fishermen made unbelievable catches. Number 30. Looks like someone finally managed to literally freeze the moment. When these brothers carved the ice around a bass fish, they found that on the other side was a pike that was in the process of eating the bass before both fish froze into place. How cool is that? Number 29. While a giant fish may be hard to miss, you might only see the invisible fish if your eyesight is as sharp as that of this New Zealand fisherman. Well, it's not entirely invisible, but it's actually translucent. What's even more bizarre is that some of its internal organs are more visible than the eyes and mouth. And if this keen man had not spotted it on the ocean surface in Peninsula, we would never have known that something like this exists. Number 28. If it's your lucky fishing day, your efforts might pay off in doubles, as is in the case of these fishermen who ended up getting a 2-for-1 special, after finding out that the large fish they had just caught had just swallowed another fish. They managed to get the other fish out, but what was more shocking was that it was more than half the length of the bigger fish. Number 27. They say that fishing is a relaxing sport, but there are days that you might catch a fish that could quite possibly end up giving you a heart attack. Such is this horrifying fish that these men caught. Where do we even start? The fins look more like wings, and everything about it has us convinced that it dropped from outer space. Number 26. If you're lucky, you might end up finding a cute little fish that looks like a gummy bear. Lump suckers are unique for their ability to stick on any surface that you put them on, and in case you ever catch one, kiss it before throwing it back in the water. Rumor has it that it brings good luck. Number 25. Along the coast of Cornwall, a fisherman was lucky enough to be one in 2 million people that are likely to catch a blue lobster. While lobsters do come in a variety of colors, blue ones are very rare. Their unique color is said to be as a result of the ingestion of astaxanthin. The red pigment is then stored in the shell where it meets proteins that grab it, twist it, and turn the lobster shell into a blue color. Number 24. Just when you think you've seen it all comes the cornet fish. Also known as flute mouth, a cornet fish is known for its extremely elongated and slender body. Its tail has a filament that contains sensory pores that are useful in detecting prey. Cornet fish come in a variety of colors, although the color can change depending on the surroundings. Number 23. Believe it or not, but a good place to fish would be the tide pools. This is because the tides drag with them many interesting creatures. However, you might need to approach them with caution, as there can be dangerous sea creatures such as sharks or worse, a blue-ringed octopus whose venom is enough to end the lives of 26 humans. Number 22. It's not every day that a 15-kilogram mako shark decides to spare the fisherman the trouble of catching it and pulling it, and just decides to jump on the boat by itself. What more could these fishermen ask for? Number 21. Any seasoned fisherman will tell you that you need to be prepared for surprises when fishing. This is because one minute you have high hopes thinking that you've caught an enormous fish, and the next minute you realize that it's just a giant crocodile that you cannot bring home with you. Unless, of course, you want to take your chances with an animal that has the strongest bite force in the world. Number 20. Could there be a fisherman that is braver than this man? He was recorded just casually fishing in the shallow waters littered with pink jellyfish. He kept scooping the numerous jellyfish using his giant rake and without any protective gear. Imagine what could happen if he brushes his skin against a jellyfish, or worse, falls into the jellyfish-infested water or even his boat. Number 19. When these fishermen retrieved their fishing net from the water, they expected to find a giant fish trapped inside. But much to their disappointment, they had caught a huge sea lion that was definitely not in a good mood. They tried to cut it loose, but once it was free, it decided to thank one of the fishermen by tossing him into the air. The fishermen were forced to steer clear, as the angry seal tried to find its way back into the water. Number 18. As a fisherman, you always go out hoping to catch a fish, but on rare occasions, the fish might end up catching you instead. It's even terrifying for a man when the fish aims for the loins. Luckily for this fisherman, the dogfish only managed to bite his shorts, and within a few seconds, he was able to free himself. Number 17. This one wasn't so lucky because he tried to lift the giant fish he had caught to probably show it off to his kids. But what happened next was embarrassing. The fish flailed so hard that it hit him in the nuts, and worse, it happened in front of his kids. Now this poor man will not hear the end of their laughter. Number 16. When they talk about the strength of a woman, this is part of what they mean. Despite her small stature, this fisherwoman managed to single-handedly reel in a giant bluefin tuna. The tuna was caught off Hampton Beach and was estimated to weigh about 1,000 pounds, so she had every reason to be proud of herself. Number 15. While baits can attract just about any creature, no fisherman throws one expecting to catch a feisty bullfrog. When this man threw his bait, he was excited to see what it would lure, but his excitement died down when he realized that his first catch was not what he was looking forward to. Fortunately, on his second try, he was able to catch a fish. Number 14. A fish that you probably don't want to deal with is an electric eel. This fisherman here instantly regretted reeling in the electrocuting creature because any contact with the flailing electric eel could leave the man in a sorry state. The shock of an electric eel is said to be strong enough to knock a horse off its feet. Number 13. Your fishing day might get a little easier if you come across fish that are willing to jump onto the boat by themselves. All you need to do is keep the boat running. Sure, you might use more gas, but at least you won't be bored sick waiting for a fish to grab your bait. The only problem is that these fish jump out of the water like bombs blowing up randomly. Number 12. Every fisherman's dream is to catch a record-shattering fish. And for this man, his came true when he took a rental boat into the Alaskan waters and caught a giant halibut fish that left him stunned. It took the efforts of 2 men to bring the fish on board. The halibut was so huge that it was almost the same height as the fisherman that caught it. Number 11. Do you remember your first catch? Well, this guy will never forget his either. Sadly, he doesn't have a photo to flaunt on the gram because he got so excited that his brain failed to function properly. He ended up trading his phone for the fish. By the time he realized it, it was a little too late. That has to be one of the most expensive fish he has come across. Number 10. Sure, catching fish is fun, but what's even more fun or funny is when your fishing mate unexpectedly falls into the ice-cold water. Even this man couldn't keep a straight face when it happened to him. It's like getting a dose of instant karma for catching that particular fish. Thankfully, he was still able to meet the fish he had caught and eventually got out of the water. Number 9. Let's face it, no fish is ever happy about being caught. These 2 men were posing for a photo with their huge catch when all of a sudden one of them received a slap in the face. The fish had been calm at the start, but it started flailing and its tail gave the old man a hot slap. We can bet $100 that this is one experience he won't forget quickly. Number 8. In case your career in the military doesn't work out or you need to retire, here's how you can make use of your sniper skills. Get yourself a fishing bow and arrow. As long as the waters are shallow and clear, you can be sure of catching some fish for dinner. And because you already have the experience, you won't end up missing as many times as this guy. Number 7. This method of fishing is one that hardcore fishermen are sure to frown upon. Instead of braving the cold, this new generation of fishermen would rather fish from the comfort and warmth of their ice fishing trailer. But we see no harm as long as the job gets done. Number 6. When you catch a good-sized fish, you can only hope that your equipment is strong enough to hold it. This fisherman isn't able to bring his fish on board because the fishing net handle broke and let him down big time. Now the big fish he had worked so hard to catch is freely swimming in the water, and he's back to struggling again. That is, if there is an extra fishing net nearby. Number 5. If you thought that you must have a fishing rod and boat to go fishing, then this man is here to prove you wrong. All you need to do is pick the perfect location, lower your umbrella, and let the water currents do the work for you. Number 4. The next time you're buying your property, ask your real estate agent to point you in the direction of houses that have a flooding problem. Every once in a while when it floods, you might get the chance to fish from your front porch just like these guys. All we're saying is that a good fish soup might help you get through the disaster. Number 3. Always keep in mind that unless the fish is on your boat or cooler, it ain't really yours. These fishermen can explain it better. Their successful fishing escapade was interrupted by a large eagle that swooped in and snatched the fish they had caught. Always be prepared to come across a fish eater that just wants you to do the fishing for it. Number 2. To get rid of fish thieves, you can cheat the system by training them to catch the fish for you instead. Like these fishermen who have trained the cormorants to help them catch the big fish. On a normal day, these cormorants can swallow big fish, but because the fishermen have tied them around their necks, they can only swallow the small fish and the big ones are left for the fishermen to keep. Genius, right? Number 1. You know that you've reached the expert fishing level when the rough sea doesn't scare you. When even the bad weather can't get in the way of your fishing, and ocean waves that are supposed to throw you off your game only end up giving you a giant fish, all without getting seasick. Now, which of these fishermen do you think had the luckiest day?